such an asshole.
I'm the old G. They say, "Oh man, you the G, old G." I'm like, God, bleeping damn it, God, look some new thing up. I'm old gangster, and it's a compliment. Apparently, it's a good thing. Old G, Cappy here, and we got an interesting request from a client, and he paid handsomely for it. I'll tell you the truth. I'll give you a little heads up right now. I've been doing this in one form of this internet thing since the blogging days, longer than most of these girls have been on the internet. Like, tee hee, I'm like so Trump and so American, John Hannity and American capitalism. And now the latest switch is the trad wife grift, where I get it. I get it. Go, but you're not, it's nothing but modern day porn. I don't know how much more depraved and debauched you can get with whatever obscure niches and rabbit holes of porn people have gone down now. I think rule of 34, I get it. It's a very clever, very clever pivot or market that's wide open. Like, hey, you see all the fat, disgusting American sow ladies that hate their men? I'm just going to be a nice girl who dresses up in a dress and is sweet and kind. Now, fine, go make the money. But there was one gal, I think Joker did an expose on her where she was literally a porn star, and then, oh, hey, subscribe to my OnlyFans. But this was a little bit more focused on the philosophical race. I'm just saying that's the big risk you got to worry about. And it's not fair. I will admit this. It is not fair for sincere women who want to come in here and actually discuss men's and women's issues, which I have respect for several women in the field in the Manosphere, but we'll go ahead and go to the request. But I'm just saying that's the backdrop, that if you girls want to come in here, fine, take all the simp money, make them poor. All right. But for God's sake, don't be a Candace Owens where it's like, I'm the token black girl. I'm not. I'm just like totally here on my own. It's shut up. You're the token black girl. Anonymous writes, he has a preamble here, so I'm just going to cut into his request. Now on to the topic at hand. I would like to know your thoughts on women in the manosphere. Do you believe women like Pearl legitimately care about men's issues? I'll answer here right now. Yes, I do. Pearl specifically, Allie was real femme sapien. Not a lot of others come to mind, but I do believe that some women actually do. I've had personal conversations with Allie. I've watched some of Pearl's stuff. I believe so. Because Pearl and Allie are like, tee hee, oh my God. Like, I'm not saying they're William F. Buckley Jr. levels of insight and Henry Kissinger levels of wordsmithing, but I believe it. Look, a real quick way to tell. Does Pearl show off cleavage? Does Allie like, oh my God, oops. There's one video of this gal crying or doing something. All she has is Oshkosh Bagosh overalls on, and she's shaking her boobs. People actually think that's real. I see no sexualization. I'm not saying they're not pretty girls. I'm just saying I see no sexualization or the obvious leading men around with their dick, plus asterisk, sub footnote, teehee. I like Republicans and conservatives and men. I'm sure there's others. Got to be more than just the two. Those are the only two that come to mind. But yeah, I do believe some women, and they do care. Absolutely. I mean, they're rare, but they're authentic. I would say yes. Or do you believe these women are smart enough to know that without men, society would be screwed and are acting out of their own self-interest? I don't think they're hedging. I don't think like, oh my God, I better get along with Team Man in case there's a collapse. Because, well, let's say there were a collapse. What good does it have to have a bunch of friends and allies on the internet that you can no longer access because the electricity doesn't run? There is no internet anymore. I know Allie is married to a Gen Xer. Gen X superior race. Thank you very much. She has the taste in us fine, refined, older, accomplished men. I don't know about Pearl as much as I know about Allie, but it would be up. They probably treat men real good in their life. And if they were worried about that, I don't know. Both those girls are industrious enough. I would think they probably own guns, and they probably are wise enough to like be somewhat off grid. They have probably a family or some kind of community, but I don't. It's not an. Or do you believe these women are smart enough to know that without men, society would be screwed and are acting in their own self interest? If they were, if they one, I do believe they know that without men, society is screwed. That's just a fact. But their action for that would not come out on the internet, because if society does collapse, having a YouTube channel that no one can access because there's no electricity, if you got 2 million subscribers, that isn't gonna it'd be like more like, "Oh, do you are you married? Do you have a guy in your life? Do you" not even necessarily romantic, like, do you get along well with your dad and your uncles and just having a family unit around? So, do you have 3 months supply food and a first aid kit? Do you know how to sight a rifle and hunt? None of which would be born on the internet. Some of them claim they want to repair the relationship between men and women that was damaged by feminism. I would believe some of that is true as well, yeah. Depends on the person, obviously. But, for every one of them, oh god, 100, 1,000 grifters? I mean, the general short rule, Cappy's rule, grifter or authentic, how much cleavage does she show? She show a lot of cleavage to grifter. I believe that these are good goals to have, but it is far too late for that. Right. And that's a separate discussion. But I'm guessing, I can't speak for them. I would guess some of the authentic women in the Manosphere. Oh, Dr. Helen Smith would be another perfect example. She old G like me. She's not an old woman. She must be no more than 29 if she's watching. She wrote a book called Men on Strike. This is in the blogging days. These are authentic, real women, yes. But I also think what mainly drags them to it is a fascinating, intellectually stimulating conversation. Forget baking in the education bubble and the housing bubble. And I am absolutely fascinated when one sex is weaponized to at least want nothing to do with or actively hate the other sex. And my angle is obviously economics. I'm like, I love to see how this I'd love to see GDP with the sexes warring with each other. You tell me how that's going to work out. And I guess I was kind of dragged into it because disproportionately most of my audience is male. Your primary interest is women, and so you can see it over the time. I've had to like shift my economic focus to the financial repercussions of investing in women, not financially, but I guess financially and time wise and romantically, psychologically, and emotionally. So that's how I got to this party. It wasn't like, oh, hey, I can make a lot of money this way. Now, it happens to be that way. You could make a good money like that. And I'm sure that's not the Pearl and Allie and Dr. I'm sure there was a financial component, but I actually honestly don't think it was their main incentive or a defensive maneuver or an insurance move to survive. I think they actually had it. I mean, well, they're also younger. They're in the thick of it too. I think they're zillennials. They're 20s, late 20s, I guess. Um, I think they're right there in the thick of it, and it's the topic du jour of their generation. And so I think a little bit of everything. Sure, who doesn't want to make a lot of money? Um, and let's also be honest. Look, what was it? Millennial Millie. Do you remember her on what's his name? Frogs Are Gay show? That guy? Teehee, I have big tits. That's all she was there for. Um, I mean, Lauren Southern and Tommy Lauren. No, those girls were hired only for their looks. Whether they like it or not, that's true. But I think the two I know, Pearl and Allie, I think they're clever businessmen or businesswomen. Said, there is a market for a not bimbo, a not moron. I hate to use Sally Jesse Raphael. I really hate. I'm trying to think of like a more intelligent female interviewer, but I don't know. Adani, like, let's go and have a mature young ladies be mature about it and not have drama and not have like, oh, I'm a 10, like the whatever show. Okay, fine. Oh, that gets the clicks, no doubt about it. I get it. And I've even seen a couple with Pearl where there is the drama. But I think there has look at this market over here. I could be female co-host, more serious, not just like tee hee, hey guys, Republican man, and actually have some people on, interview, talk about whatever it is, whatever format they have, Twitter, podcast, YouTube. Yeah, and there's a money, and it shows they got good followings. I think Pearl's got over 1 million at least. So I'm sure there was a little bit of a financial incentive. I believe there might have been some philosophical actual care, maybe a political philosophical angle, but I think they're just interested in it. Now you throw someone else in who wanted to play the tag along. Can I come and play with you? I won't mention who, but basically, and I'll be perfectly honest here, and it's ethically wrong. But I will not. You give me a normal looking girl, I'll give her the opportunity, the time of day, whatever. I'll give her credibility. But once I see a drop dead gorgeous girl say like, "Hey, can I join too, guys?" Get the fuck out of here. Get the fuck out of here. Absolutely not. You go pound in the sand. You go earn your stripes. That you have had life so easy being a pretty girl. You don't need my help. And no, you can't join it. You go create something. Start your own damn podcast. Start your own write your own damn. But no, you're not coming here and glomming on. Again, won't mention who these ladies are. You might be able to guess them. And there's no hate. There's no hate, just utter lack of respect. Utter like you are clueless, and you can't be clueful unless you start out as the fat, ugly chick and then like whittled your weight down and remember. But otherwise, if you've always been a good-looking girl since you hit puberty, get out of here. Nope. I mean, like if I needed an engineer, a programmer, an accountant, and they're really good at engineer program, but any kind of media and like, hey, can I come on? Absolutely not. You can't come on my show. Do your own thing. And so that's where I would say no. Those women, what are my thoughts on women? I think those are the posers, those are the grifters, those are the ones avoid. Look, if you're a good-looking gal and you're like, oh, I run my accounting practice, but I'd also like, for example, I believe Nerdrotic has, I forget the name of their Asian correspondent, Trisha Takanawa. That's not her name. I believe she earned that legitimately. They invited her on and she makes interesting conversation and points and observation. I forget her name. I apologize. But you could tell the cleavage test. There you go. Now, if they want to come in, I'm not going to stop them. Like, yeah, come on in. Oh, you pretty tee-hee. Oh, now you're the head of Fox News. Now you're on the show. Okay, fine. There you go. I'm not going to stop it. But me personally, pissed off, curmudgeonly Gen X Cappy. No, get out of here. Get out of here. I don't know, maybe it's so long ago having, I was a big nerd. I could suss out who was authentic and who was fake. Oh God, the 80s and 90s. You want to talk about Mean Girls and Heathers. There's an old one. You could suss out the bullshit real quick. Are you saying you can just look at someone and tell? Yeah, kind of, yeah. That's why I'm the old G. That means gangster. Yeah. Some claim they want to repair the relationship, but they're too damaged. I agree. I believe these are good goals to have, but it's far too late for that. I would kind of argue yes. And let's also be honest, this isn't their fault. It's not too little, too late. I just think the selling point of feminism is way too attractive to young women. Nothing's your fault. Men are pigs for liking thin women, so you're beautiful the way you are. You don't have to try. Socialist talking point, socialist talking point, socialist talking point. You're oppressed, so it gives you some kind of purpose and reason. Like, we got to fight and take down the evil patriarchy. Don't tell them something practical, though. Work in the real world. Like, oh, you should really become a tax accountant. It pays well. Snoresville. They got to go fight and become the next Greta Thunberg. So I think it's helpful. Maybe because they're women, more women will tune in. Maybe there's a preference. I wouldn't say a bias, but a preference. Maybe women just want to listen to women. I'm not a woman. I don't know these women things. half a century old. I don't know. I still don't know. Our best men were on it. We had labs. We had facility. We still came up with nothing. So yeah, no, I think, and there should be other voices. You don't want you don't want this to be a sausage party. Fine, have other, but have them be smart, have them be intelligent, have them be intellectually honest. I believe it took us 3 or 4 generations to get where we are now, so I believe it'll take as long, if not longer, to get back to normalcy. Yep, I know it's boring, but until the U.S. dollar is no longer the world's reserve currency, we can keep this up in ad infinitum. We can keep it going. And also, by comparison, competitive currencies, if this woke feminist anti-male stuff goes global and they start the money printers as well in welfare states, and oh my God, our men are just horrible, disgusting pigs, the U.S. might be through it further, might be furthest down the colon. We might be the first out, and we may have actually survived this whole thing. But I don't try to predict economics. Even then, I suspect enough men from the red pill space will survive long enough to pass on the knowledge to future generations of men. All right, there I'm actually hopeful and in full agreement with you. I don't believe the internet will ever really go away. I think this knowledge has been rediscovered. It was lost for about 3 to 4 generations. We are now rediscovering it. Now, whether other people follow it is another matter, but it's no longer like 1987 and you can't figure out why Susie Q just yelled at you because you took her to a war movie, which happened to me. Not in 1987. Her name wasn't Susie Q. I can't remember her name. You're no longer confused. And, well, shoot, that's why I got the course, The Dad You Never Had. There's not all. I mean, nothing really is all. But what I would like to believe, the most comprehensive compilation of red pill fatherly advice in one spot your dad should have taught you. Why did I come up with it? Because Asshole Consulting only exists because they didn't have their dads. If we had the dads and their dads wasn't the ball of sacks of wonder American dads have become now, they wouldn't need this course. But there it is. You can look it up. And you've gone, why did Susie stand me up? There's 1,000 videos on why you got stood up, all more or less agreeing on we had our convention, we convened, we had the Council of Nicaea, we figured it out. Bitches be tripping. That's the answer. There you go. She didn't have the real answer. She never wanted to go out with you. That was the real answer. And to expect it. So there's enough men in the red pill space. The male sex drive is going to make sure that we will always constantly rediscover the red pill, even if whatever the internet would be purged of all of its data. We'll still find it. We will figure it out. Might take a couple generations, but we will figure it out. But now with the amount of books on there, with this rediscovered old wisdom put with basically a new coat of paint on it, it's not like Socrates and the Greeks didn't know about this. We just put it into, for a modern era with social media, which, by the way, Fresh and Fit should be up there. I'm not joking. They should be up there with those Greek philosophers because they were on point when it came to accounting for the effect social media would have on women. They were the front runners on that one. So I'm I'm very hopeful. And it's what's his name? Thinking Ape talked about it. He's like, there's not going to be any more red pill rage or nowhere near to the amount because the younger generation of boys today could just look this up and they'll never be misled for decades of their lives or most of their teen years. And they would never trust. Red pill will survive long enough to pass on the knowledge to future generations of men, and they would never trust and never again trust women. Well, it's not okay. I'm not going to be a feminist where it's like all men or all gender over there. There are trustworthy women. It is an issue of statistics. What percentage are trustworthy? Very few. Very few men are trustworthy. I'm not trying to say men do it too, right? But I'm not going to go that far. You can't. Oh, she's a woman. Don't trust her. Okay, well then you would have missed out on Allie and Pearl and Dr. Helen Smith. And I gotta imagine there's some other gals out there that are authentic. Well, but whoever they might be, you'd be passing up on them. And look, men and women are not going to get together and be supporting one another until we have like kind of a conversation. I think these women are absolutely critical and key to have that. If we're to do it if we are to ever rekindle the love the sexes should have had for one another without going to war, without an economic collapse, without going back to the laws of nature where there is no police, there is no ACO, there is no divorce court. It's just that guy's got a bigger stick and more men than your tribe does, and I guess you're going to go be his forcible bedroom, not fun time slave. That if we'd like to avoid that reset, it's going to require both men and women. But as I said before, I don't think I'm 100% certain it will be horrifically bad economic times. And as I've thought about it more and more, I'm like, well, it's going to be what's going to go faster, like if technology or parasitism, which is ultimately what it is. No one wants to work. Is the technology going to advance quickly enough to keep supporting a world where you don't need men and producers and electricity? Like how fast can that go? Because that's going to determine how long it can be kept up. This infrastructure can be kept up. But if we produce more parasites and consumers, whether it's under the guise of rank Marxism or feminism, whatever, just people ain't going to work. And women don't need no man, but they need the welfare state or divorce court. And people stop having kids. There ain't no people to man the machines no more or program them. It's going to be an interesting race. Which one's going to win out? But I'm fully, I don't know when, but I am fully certain at some point in time, the parasitic class is going to consume more than what technology will be able to provide. And then we're going to have really bad economic times. And then there's not going to be a government or a state, which includes protection with police and military. And then we're going to go right back to where we were for 99.999% of all of human existence. And we're going to relearn these lessons. And maybe some of the books will survive and say, hey, look at this. Look at that. Hey, that. And then, I don't know, another 1,000 years go by. We create the new America, the new Roman, and we get spoiled and we collapse again. And what was it? The Heinleinian circle. So, I mean, and don't be so hard on the guy. I mean, there are good girls out there. Won't you want to meet one? I'm not saying get married. Let's not be crazy now. But yeah, I mean, there are friendly women. I don't know why you wouldn't welcome them. But yeah, like, tee hey guys, here's my OnlyFans. No. We got a super chat. Tony Ciotino, Italian agent in the field, $10. It seems to me that modern women feel like their life has no real meaning unless they become famous or that they are somehow entitled to become some kind of celebrity. Right. And when they get there, guess what? That won't make them happy. It won't make a man happy. I mean, it's fun, I guess, being a celebrity. Sure. I mean, you get money and maybe people like you, or at least you're popular, we should say. But I'll tell you again, unless they get married, well, okay, let me rephrase that. Unless they find love, they will have no meaning. They won't. I won't even say it goes so far as say unless they have kids, not necessarily. But unless there's other people in their life, there's no meaning. None. And it's not just any old people. It's good quality people. And good luck finding that. No, you watch the self-deletion rates of both men and women. You think they're high now. You look at the antidepressant use and the mental illness diagnosis percentage or whatever, that's going to skyrocket up. It's going to sky, and the marriage rate is going to plummet down exponentially. You watch 10 years, it's going to be a night. And well, they knew better. They got their feminist ideology that hugs them back at night, and they got their flirtinis, and they got their cats, and it's a stereotype now, but it is so true. It's so true. And that's too bad. And I do not believe the likes of Pearl or Dr. Helen Smith or Allie. Well, Allie has a kid and is married. Oh my, she said something very interesting to me. She says, they're just bored, Aaron. They're just bored. I'm like, well, why don't you go get some Gen X dick and maybe have a family and learn to suck a cock? Now, I didn't have to tell her that. Allie is aware. Got that there. All right. Let me close this because the internet decided to take a shit on me. Oh, by the way, I think it's weather, actually. Channel 1800 Dumb, 5 New Zealand. Some of our brothers in the sphere have had a gender crisis recently, and they may need our help and support. Not looking at anyone. Brandon. Who's Brandon? And Red Hawk. Subscribe to Red Hawk's channel, guys. Red Hawk has a nice the man hour. $10. The very few who aren't here for clicks, but have some interesting points to make, but they'll never fully get it because they can't. Be polite. Take everything they say with a grain of salt. I am aware that they are women. Yes, they are different, but at the same time, they are human. And maybe one of these days I'll talk about the supremacy of the individual. I mean, maybe I'll talk about that philosophy because there's a lot to be gained from it. I cannot treat someone lesser because they have to be a girl or a race or like a certain type of genitalia. I can't because there is a human there. I've been there. I've been that guy, that person, that individual. They experience reality just the same. Now, maybe girls experience a little bit different than guys. I get it because of genetics and biology. And no, you're right. They will never fully understand what it's like to be a guy. That being said, I have met women who are intelligent. I have met independent women. I've even met women who have taken agency, an incredible amount of respect. And I cannot, if there's an independent, agency-full woman with her own brain and mind that is a human being, and you should absolutely hear what they have to say. And they are capable of it's not, I'll admit, Red Hawk, it's not common. It's rare. It's exceptionally rare. Exceptionally. I get it. But think about how lonely that might be philosophically. Here you are, an independent. Like, what's it like being, the one white girl in an engineering program and everybody else is an Asian girl, but then 90% is all guys. Like, and then like, oh, you're a white girl. What do you know? You're just giggles and Barbie dolls. That is incredibly hurtful, lonely, unfair to that mind. And so I understand, yes, they're girls and they don't know, but I would give credence and credibility if they say intelligent things. Whereas some girls, tee titties and traditionalism and cookies. Darius Thurman, $10. I don't agree with Pearl and others 100%, but it's so rare to find women. Thank you. Rare. Women who at least acknowledge the bottom 80% of men's problems. Even most Republican women see men as cannon fodder in Texas. Right. It's amazing how quickly you might as well not even, what happened? How quickly any sort of traditionalism or conservatism in a male-female dynamic goes away with Crowder's wife. I mean, there's Candace, I have a vag Owens. Tee I'm not the token black girl. Yes, you are. But anyway, listen to what I have to say. Oh my God. Clicks for more drama because of the Crowder family. I never really had that much respect for her in the first, but I definitely don't now. So yeah, why would you reject these gals? Why would you dismiss them? Brandon Trueblood, $5. Aaron, please help. Frank 1800 Dumb wants me to dress as a woman. I feel dirty knowing he feels this way. Brandon, I'm a libertarian. How much is he paying? He wants you to dress as a woman. What's it worth to you? Frank, which one do you want? Who am I to get in the way? Why, Brandon, why don't you capitalize on this? You have an opportunity for profit. You don't have to be, he's all the way. Look, you got a US dollar sign. I know Frank is over in New Zealand. You don't have to meet the guy. I don't know. You guys figure it out. This is not my problem. I'm just trying to paint the positive spin of libertarianism where you both could profit. All right, there you guys go. Got questions, answers, AstroConsulting.com. I think I have my internet figured out. I'll see you kids later. Toodles.